Okay, so I wanted to show some stretches that I like to do that are good. Certainly not all of the stretches that I do or anything. I think a lot of the stretches I do are kind of generic, like normal, the same stretches you would see in any stretch routine. So I don't really think I need to show those or tell you that those are helpful. But anyway, I just want to talk about a few stretches that I think are helpful, or at least are helpful for me. This is butterfly on a block. So I'm sitting on the block, and so butterfly is a position that I have a lot of trouble with. It's very hard for me to stretch in this position. And what I found is that sitting on the block allows me to stretch in this position in a way that I can't without it. So if I don't have the block under my butt and I try to lean forward in a butterfly, I have a lot of pain, like a pinch and a pain in my hips. And it's kind of always been like that. I could never lay forward in a butterfly because of that pain. So what I like to do now is sit on the block, and I am also able to push my knees down. So when I'm like this, I can, like, in order to push my knees down, I'm in this very awkward position in my upper body and I have no strength to push down. And then if I lean forward more, it hurts my hips. So when I'm actually on the block, I'm able to push my knees down without like this awkward position in my shoulders. And then I'm able to like lean forward without that pain in my hips. And I'm actually able to get a stretch. Whereas in a butterfly without the block, I can't really push myself down more, but I can't go any further, but I just feel discomfort. So I mean, some people can sit on the floor in the butterfly position and it's totally fine. And if that's you, obviously you don't need the block. But if you have trouble with your butterfly, it may be helpful to try sitting on the block. And I definitely find it very helpful and it helps me get lower. I don't have a very good butterfly, so it's nice to have something to help me to do it a little bit better. Another stretch that I really like that I'm gonna do now is this passe position and leaning forward. So this is a really good stretch for your back, stretches your hip and your back. So it's a stretch that I do pretty often, and I usually push my foot down. And then flexing for my calf. I think for some people this could also be a hamstring stretch. For me, this is a stretch for my hip and my back, but it could be a hamstring stretch, and then if you flex, it could be a calf stretch. Really try to lean forward. You should try to get down on your leg and not lean backwards. The thing about stretching is you have to find the stretches that work for your body and that help you to find the stretches that access the areas that you're tight. So I get a lot of tightness in my back, in my lower back, and stretching like this really helps me get rid of that tightness. So these are, by the way, like all the stretches that I do before I go to class. So if I was going to ballet class, I would do most all of these stretches prior to going. I do these before a show, like to do them. Sometimes I do a lot of these before I coach as well, not necessarily all of them. Pull up your heels. The camera definitely makes that look like I can do more than I can, but you want to push down above your knee, pull up. It's a good calf stretch. And it's a good extension for your knees. Toes. A lot of times when I'm teaching, I notice that kids will stick their ankles out like this. It's better to sit on one foot if you can't hold the position, straight on both feet. And even if you can, it can be really helpful to go on one foot if you have like a difference between your 2 feet. So if you have a foot that's less flexible, sitting just over that foot can help you with the flexibility on that side, because you can't sort of cheat and only stretch over the good side. So that's another really good one. The elongated butterfly, I can do this one off of the block. I can actually lean forward in this position and it stretches my back. And it doesn't hurt my hips the way the other position does. However, if you sit on the block in this position, it also kind of changes the stretch. It makes it a lot easier to get down. And it increases, to me, it increases the stretch in the hips, but off of the block, I feel like it increases the stretch in my back. So I do like to do a little bit of both. I don't really time any of these things. I just sort of stay until I feel stretched. But when I was younger, I used to time more. Now I'm just kind of like, I know how long to stay. I don't know how long that is, but I think I know. So I'm not saying you should just time yourself. Is probably good if you don't think you'll stay long enough. Could like stay for 30 seconds or a minute or something. Some stretches you should probably stay longer if you're especially tight. For me, when I put my elbows in my knees, when I lean forward in this position, I feel a lot of stretch in my hips. So I like to do that. Okay, so you can also lift your legs like this sitting on the block, but I prefer to just sit on the floor. And I lift my legs both in parallel and in turned out position because I think that it really helps to do both, so you strengthen in both ways. Because when you're doing this and parallel, it's different than when you're turned out. And I think for ballet, you really need to turn out, but for your strength overall and in rhythmic, it's best to be strong in both positions, I think. So when I do parallel, I notice just how muscles are working differently. If you do this, just always make sure you don't lean back, because if you lean back to get your legs higher, it's not going to help you. Underneath stretches, this one is really helpful for turnout and calves and hamstrings. I recommend to do it different ways. You can stretch it forward and you can lay back with it. It also helps with nerve tension. You want to hold your foot like this on the inside on the opposite hand and try to keep your turnout as you straighten your leg. So try not to let your knee fall in. Keep your knee open when you straighten your leg, and your foot will be in this sort of flexed position the whole time. And then you can lay down with it as well. When I lay down, I notice a lot more stretch in the hamstring for myself personally than when I lay forward. It's more like behind my knee. So that's another really good stretch for your turnout. And you can practice this just going, as far as you can. Obviously, if you can't straighten your leg all the way, you can work towards being able to straighten your leg. You have to turn out. Some people will tell me, well, but like my knee hits my arm. And I'm like, yes, it hits your arm because you're not turned out. And that's just what happens is, so their knee will be in and then they'll tell me, oh, I can't straighten it because it's hitting my arm. And it's like, well, you need to turn your leg out. And then when your leg is turned out, you aren't going to hit your arm. Now you might only be able to go to here. Don't lean back, sit up straight. You might only be able to go to there. And that's just what it is, right? You work where you are, and you might be able to increase if you keep working on it. But the point is, you have to turn your leg out and work on turning your leg out. And if you do that, you will be able to straighten it without hitting your arm more. And yeah, when you lay down with it, it's more the hamstring. Okay, so feet flexing and pointing with butterfly position. I 1, 2, 3, 4. My ankle cracking. 1, 2, 3, 4. So with this, you want to, when you straighten your legs, to feel that you keep your knees outward. Don't let your knees fall in. I also sometimes do this one faster, where I do it more like this. That's to loosen up your hips, but I do like to do it more slowly to really work on the turnout and engage my muscles more, and work on my hips to be more turned out. I know some people make videos about stretching and exercises, and then they just fast forward all of the repetitions because, like, you get it. But that's not really what real life is like when you're stretching. You don't get to just fast forward through all of the work. So I rather just keep it on and just, you have to persist and keep doing it. And it does take a lot of time, and it can be hard to find the time, but you have to find it somehow. So parallel as well. Don't forget about parallel, because you need strength in that position as well. Flex and point, go through your toes. Don't lean back. Don't lean back. If you can bring your knees up without leaning back, then you could do it like that. Just don't cheat. It's hard to find a balance between your ego and what you need to do is not cheat, right? But if we all have ego, we want to be able to go further and do more. You want to make sure that you stay where you are. When you stretch and when you do exercises, you need to do them where you are. Pike position. This is a very difficult position for me. This is a difficult position for you. I guess I relate, first off. But second off, try to do this underneath. It really helps. Flex, point, lift your head on the flex, drop your head on the point. Helps with neural tension in your neck and behind your knees. The sort of pike stretch position is extremely hard for me because I feel a lot of tension behind my knees and a lot of tension in my neck and my back. So when you flex your feet on the way up, point and put your head down, it's good to round your back in this one and try to release that tension in your neck. You can roll up and down, and that helps me too with the tension in my back and my neck. I feel so much tension when I roll down. And it gets worse when I keep my back too flat, so it's nice to roll down. So you can get a back stretch in a pike by kind of keeping this rounded position, and then you need to try to do more of a flat position to get more in your legs. I feel in my legs regardless of if I flatten my back or if I round my back, but if you're more flexible in this position, then you should try to make a flat back. I mean, you want to go here and not here. But if you have trouble flattening your back, it can help again to sit on the block because it makes it easier to get to here. And so you can try sitting on the block. A lot of times with the flex position, it can help to do a plie and straighten into it so that you can loosen up that neural kind of tension. You could do turned out too, but you want to try to move through that, because if you just feel a lot of tension when you try to reach forward and you stop when you feel that tension, you won't be able to go further. So I think it helps to just try to move through that. Another exercise with the pike that I don't do a lot anymore, but I used to do it a lot with rhythmic, is to include your arms. So I think it's actually a really good exercise. Tight knees and you bring your arms overhead, because it's gonna loosen up your shoulders and your legs, and it's dynamic. Yeah, okay. Shoulder stretches. It's good to open up your shoulders because it's very good for your back as well. Okay, so I like to use the blocks to do the pigeon stretch. So the pigeon, I try to open my leg to 90-degree angle as much as I possibly can. Obviously, you can keep your leg in more if you need to. And I like to use the blocks to help sit up and engage more and not relax sort of on the position. So I find the blocks are helpful for that. You can go forward on your elbows as well. You know, stretch your hips. The pigeon stretch is really good stretch for your turnout and also for your hamstring and your hip flexor. The next thing I want to do is to bend my back leg here. So when you bend your back leg, you can do it leaning forward and you can pull your leg forward, but you can also do it sitting up and keep your back leg up like that. The blocks also help, I think. I try to start with my leg in a little when I first bend my back leg, and then I inch my leg out to see if I can challenge my turnout a little bit more in the front leg, because the turnouts, it's a lot. It's intense for the bottom leg when it's all the way out. Lean forward, pull your back leg up. It's another good one. A lot of people grab their foot and sickle it. It's like a really common thing I see when I teach kids. Try to keep your foot straight. Okay, so then the other stretch I really like for the back leg, for your hip flexor and your quad, is to bend your back leg and reach with the same hand back and pull it towards you. So there's two different versions of this, and they are different. One is to grab your foot here and pull towards you. I turn my shoulders towards it and pull here. Don't raise your hips up. Sit down. If you need to bring your leg in order to sit down, that's fine. If you can bring your leg out and still sit down, then do that. But the point is not to be sit up like this, but to sit down. And you can turn your shoulders open. You'll feel this probably in your quad or in your hip flexor. The other version is that you put your arm behind. It's hard to show. You put your arm behind like that and you reach through. So you reach your arm behind your leg and through it to your thigh. So I'll turn this way, but you reach your arm behind your leg through and you grab your thigh, and then you push with your upper arm and you push your leg down to your butt. If you're wondering, does it hurt? Try it. Yes, it's gonna be really uncomfortable. It's already uncomfortable when I'm here, but I just push more. You can also push your own hip forward when you do that. Yeah, it's uncomfortable for sure. So then when your back leg is bent here, I turn it sideways so it's like an attitude and raise it from the floor. Don't lean forward, don't lean back. Try not to shift. Try to raise your leg in one motion, one piece, just straight off, and hold. Okay, and then I'm gonna do everything on the other side. The bottom leg, so this side, my left, I'm a lot more limited in my hip. So that's something that I just automatically start more in because I know that my hip is gonna take more time to loosen up. But I do eventually find on my left that I can bring it out more. It's just taking time to stretch through that tension and everything. So I think you can learn your body and kind of learn what you need and learn your own limitations and your own work to improve. So like, as you can see, I'm a bit worse on this side, but I can still get my hips down more as I sit longer. It's sort of an interesting thing I've been thinking about with hip flexibility and stretching is you can sit extremely on top of your back leg like this in your pigeon, or you can sit a little off to the side. And I actually find that the stretch is much more when I sit slightly off to the side than when I sit straight on top of it. When I sit straight on top of it, there's a lot of stretch in the front hip, but almost nothing in the hip flexor area. So I like to sit off to the side so I can get that stretch here. And I think that the hip flexor stretch and the quad stretch is so important for the extension of your back leg that it's nice to work on a bit of both. Because if you're really upright here, at least for me, that's really just a front hip stretch and nothing for my back leg. When I sit slightly off, and I'm not talking about sitting completely sideways, but just slightly, then I'm squeezing my back knee off the ground and I'm really getting that stretch all the way through here, which is what you need to extend your back leg in leaps, extend your back leg in arabesque, penché, back split, back grab positions, all of those type of things. You really do need a flexibility in that area. So the back leg stretch that I do when I pull my leg here, I just lean forward and grab it with the opposite hand. I moved my leg way in on this side. I have to pretty much, but then sometimes after I can move it out a little. Right here, if you just sit here, your leg is gonna go to the side. So you really have to make sure you sit in the middle so that your leg comes up to your hand. And you're really gonna stretch both your front hip and your back hip as well. So then you can turn sideways and do this one. You wanna sit up for this one. Don't let your butt rise. You have to sit. And if you bring your leg in, that's fine. But if you can, try to keep it out. Through your leg. Can see the position like that. Through your leg and then push. You open your chest, but keep your hips that way.